Welcome to Heart Home Community's most recent Baldwinsville Community Update. I'm your host, Shelley Hoffman. We hope you enjoy the show and find it very informative. Hey everybody, it is Shelley Hoffman and I'm here today with Bob Wicks for our February update on what's been going on in the town of Lysander. It's a beautiful day outside today, right, Bob? Isn't it nice out there?
I'm looking outside and it doesn't look too bad right now, but it could get a little uglier this afternoon. So I wanted to make sure that anybody that plans on coming to the town, we're open. But if we get the type of snow that has been forecasted, I might have to close a little early in order to allow our employees to get home before the rush. So we cut down on congestion on the roads. But so what, if you plan on coming later on this afternoon, I would check our website first. If we close, that's always on the town website. What time?
Do you know what they're projecting for us to get? I tell you all the time, I don't watch television or anything, but I know we're supposed to get a decent amount of snow. Do you have an idea?
They're talking anywhere from 6 inches to 12 inches, depending on where you are. I know the town engineer, I called him because he lives out in Madison County and they got 18 inches where he is. So he can work remotely. So I called him and said, look, just work remotely today. You know, that way he doesn't have to drive through the bad weather here. So they're already getting it there and it's supposed to be coming from the east. So we might be getting that type of snow. I don't know.
Yeah, and I saw where the governor said, you know, if you don't have to go out in this, obviously stay home. So same concept. If you can get people home early, you know, to avoid some of the people on the road at the time that everybody's traveling, that's obviously appreciated. What else has been going on in the town of Lysander?
Well, we have a presentation. We have a few presentations this week at the town board meeting if people choose to show up, but they probably should watch because we have a presentation by the GBAC, the ambulance corps, local ambulance corps, and they're going to give us a presentation because like many ambulance corps throughout Onondaga County, they're experiencing some revenue stream issues. The town of Camillus, according to GBAC, town of Camillus had the same type of issues a couple of years ago, and they were almost going to have to close down if they didn't get some support from the residents of the town. Now, certainly that would go up for referendum and people would have the opportunity to vote on that. But it would shock me if people wanted to vote or would vote not to form a district for that, which is what they are going to propose. Now, they're not going to, it's my understanding, they're not going to propose full funding, but what people don't understand, if an ambulance pulls up to your house and they don't transport, then insurance companies do not pay the ambulance corps for that, but they still have to muster everybody, go to the place. They still have to have the ambulances ready. They have to have a paramedic on the ambulance, and all of that costs money. Well, when they can't transport, now they just did that for free. They have to eat that amount of the cost of that. So what they're looking to do is try to supplement their revenue by forming a district. And the proposal, I believe, is going to be between the town of Van Buren, the village of Baldwinsville, and the town of Lysander. So it's not just the town of Lysander residents, it's the whole Baldwinsville area. And I don't want to go any further on that because I don't have all of the information myself, but that's what they're looking to do. But that's one of those things with public safety. We need the ambulances. Yeah. Some people might say, well, we could go with AMR or some other organization like that. Well, that's okay, but AMR is located in the city. Well, if you're dying with a heart attack or you're having severe pains or trauma, they have to come from the city out here and then transport you back to the city where the Baldwinsville Ambulance Corps is right down on Mechanic Street.
Right. I talked to...
it's not Mechanic Street. I can't remember what street it is.
No, I think that's Mechanic Street, isn't it?
Mechanic?
I think so. Now I'm confused, but
yeah, right next to the bowling alley, right across from the bowling alley.
Right. So I've talked to Jim Hogan a couple of times, obviously with the ambulance corps, and in talking about how they get money and raise money, it's never come up that they don't get paid, nor would he probably bring it up that they don't get paid if they come to somebody's house and they don't transport. So I think that's a good piece for the public to know, Bob, because I've never thought about that, because it's still time, they're taking their time, they're coming, and a lot of times they're helping you from your home, and then they're able to leave and you can stay there. So I can see how that could get expensive. But then he's also was talking about with the expense, adding on to COVID and the additional equipment, things that they needed. So that makes it kind of a tough year this year as well for the ambulance corps.
When they started the ambulance corps, the type of training that they needed back then, you could get being a volunteer. Now, the New York State mandated training for ambulances and for paramedics is very, very extensive, because paramedics, I believe, they can administer narcotics. So because of that, the training has really been elevated, and it's expensive to keep the personnel trained, and volunteers, it's tough for them to meet those requirements. So I'm pretty sure they have some full-time staff, but most of the staff is a volunteer still. But they'll be able to explain that. But there is a problem with it really needs to have some legislative change. But just like anything, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and the insurance companies have a strong lobby in Albany and on the federal level. So to get that changed is going to be difficult, but they're going to have to do something. But in the meantime, we're probably going to need to do something in order to keep that organization viable.
Yeah, and we do need it. So hopefully, I'm sure the presentation will contain a lot of information. I think the residents, if there's a way that we can help get that information out, if people don't watch the meeting or something, just let me know, Bob. Maybe we can come up with a way, or I can talk to Jim about getting more information out there.
I will do that. Yeah, that'd be great. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I know you said you had a couple presentations. What's another one?
The county water environmental protection WEP is coming in. Well, actually, they're not coming in. They're going to do it virtually, but we're going to have a virtual presentation on sewer consolidation. Sewer consolidation is a countywide initiative that the county is looking to absorb the other sewer districts within the county, and there's a number of reasons why, and in the presentation I'm sure they're going to go over that, but part of it is to help with growth, to make sure that we have the capacity, that the county has the capacity to bring in business into Onondaga County. And in order to ensure that, according to the county executive, we need they believe that we need sewer consolidation. So from our perspective, we really are in a situation where it would be difficult for us to go it alone. If we were to try and go it alone, we would have to establish our own water and sewer department. That means personnel, equipment. I have no idea how much that would cost, but I'm pretty sure that we don't have the resources to be able to do that. So because of that, we are probably, at least from what I've heard, I'm leaning towards voting to go with sewer consolidation for a number of reasons, which we'll be able to discuss further. It's a complex discussion that we're going to have Thursday night, and we've been going over since I've been in last January. I attended the first meeting, and there really is very limited options for a town of our size. Even bigger towns like Manlius Town, the Manlius already went to signed on. I believe that the town of Van Buren is signing on, and some of the bigger towns are signing on. Now, Manlius, their sewers are in pretty poor condition. Ours are in pretty good condition, but in order to establish additional personnel where we would handle all that sewer issues on our own, that would be hard. That would be tough. So, but anyway, they're going to come in and give the presentation, and we'll have an opportunity for people to ask questions as well as we're going to ask questions. Our parks, I've been getting a lot of call about our parks and the pavilions. Right now, we're still trying to determine what we're going to do as far as with our parks. We're looking at different options with maybe consolidating with other organizations to run some of our programs and restructure in some way. But counselors Gerasi and Kudaraskis really are taking the lead on that, and hopefully this Thursday they'll have some more information about that. But if you do want to rent pavilions, you can call the clerk's office. For right now, Dina Falcone, our town clerk, is taking the reservations for that until we determine what we're going to do. And with fields, people can still call my office, and what I'm doing is forwarding the information to Counselor Kudaraskis, who's actually in charge of the fields right now.
Okay. And I would assume that has a little bit to do with how much opens up in the spring and what we're able to do, correct? Part of that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we don't know what is going to happen the rest of the year. I mean, I thought we were going to be in much better shape than we are now with COVID as far as the vaccines and things like that. But it appears that it's on some days it's getting more restrictive. But I saw the governor kind of opened up some of the ability for people to have weddings, and I only caught the tail end of it, but I heard him talking about vaccinations. Then I heard him talking about having 150 people at the event. So I don't know where it is, and I don't think anybody else other than the governor has an idea where that is, and that stuff changes daily. I watch his broadcast whenever he has it on, and he's usually on every day. I watch his, and I watch the county executives briefings, and they have different information, and there's conflicting information from the CDC on what we should be doing. They had Cheryl Atkinson on Sunday had people, I turned on my phone accidentally, had people from the CDC on, and a representative, I forget the representative's names, but the CDC is even sending out conflicting information. And she showed how that the CDC was saying that people with COVID should get the vaccination, and this representative was saying, no, that's false information. And they actually had conversations where the top representatives from the CDC said, yeah, you're right, we should change that, but they still haven't changed it. So people going to the CDC website are getting information that on their own account they know is not factual. So what are we supposed to do?
Right.
I don't know.
I saw that about the weddings, and it said 150 people if everyone got tested prior to the wedding. And that's great. But even that information is, if you get tested, some people go get the rapid test, and then 3 days later they get a phone call that says they were actually positive. So if you get the rapid test, you're negative, you attend the wedding. I don't know. I'm kind of to that point now where I'm sitting back and just watching it all unfold and taking what I need to know for my life, and the rest of it just kind of holding back and waiting, Bob, because you're right. It's all conflicting. It's crazy.
We have to, not us, but not only us, but every municipality in the state has to come up with a COVID or communicable disease plan that we have to have ready by April 1st. And that plan will cause municipalities to spend money. We have to have 6 months of PPEs in place for every employee. Well, now where are we going to get the money? We have to come up with the money. So we have to, because that money wasn't budgeted for. So we have to come up with the money. There's a 2-page memo that I have. Let's see, that I'm going to hand out today to all the department heads. And that is information to them. That's the information that they have to get back to me, because I have a draft of the plan that we have, but I need to make sure that each department head by the end of next month gets me their specific information. I'm going to put it with the plan that I already have in draft form, but because we have to give it to the union. So I have to give the union a draft plan that I plan on doing. In fact, our town engineer is one of our union representatives. He's actually stuck in Utica. He lives over in Madison County. He's working from home today, but we have to give it to the unions by this week. And then that's the draft. And then we have to come up with the final plan by the end of March. But it's going to cost us money. How much money? I don't know. It all depends. We might have to buy laptops. We have to determine who's essential, who's non-essential. And essential, by their definition, are people that have to physically be in their seats at work. Well, some people can work from home. Okay, if they can work from home, we're supposed to have 50% of the workforce working from home. Well, if they're working from home and they use a computer, which everybody does, all right, we have to buy computers for them to work at home. Now we don't issue them to them, but we have to have them available. Either we have to rent them or we have to buy them and have them on standby. And then how do you get your mail? I mean, there's a number of 2 pages of things that we have to do in order to get that in place. How much is that going to cost? I don't have a number for that right now, but we have to put that plan there. And that's everybody. That's a village, every town in Onondaga County, every town and village in the state. And these mandates are put on us, and without any thought, well, how are we going to pay for it? So that's one of the things that I've been working on. Hopefully he doesn't have another one, because I had one last year and I got another one this year. Now, on the good news is we're looking at there's a industrial area in the over at the end of 690 at Church Road and Henkel Boulevard. And if you can see up on my map up here, it's up. You just can barely see it. The map of the town is in the back, and right in the middle, you'll see a little purple spot. That's the spot. And it's already been identified as industrial. Long before I got here, that's been an industrial area for years. Now, what is being proposed is a large warehouse, parts warehouse. Well, if you're going to look at industry in an area, that's about as clean as industry as you can get. You're not going to have any waste. You're not going to have any fumes, any smells, anything like that. And what I've been told, and we'll find out more information as we move on, but I've been told that could produce up to 300, maybe even more jobs for that area. So local businesses would be able to benefit from that, because it isn't like the old days when our grandparents and Fred Flintstone went to work with a lunch pail. You don't see too many lunch pails going out the door. Now I still do it, but not a lunch pail, but I have a bag, but not that many people bring their lunches to work anymore. So if you had 300 people, 2 shifts at that warehouse, who's going to benefit from it? All the businesses in the village are going to benefit from those people working there. I got to think at least half of them, 150 of them, are going to be ordering out. That will really stimulate our local economy and our local businesses, as well as they're going to provide some decent paying jobs there that people in the Van Buren, Lysander village will be able to have an opportunity to apply there. I think it's and it's going to stimulate our revenue as far as our tax revenue. And with a warehouse, I know I've seen a couple of people complaining because it's close to their house, but it was going to be close. Some industry was going to go in there. Well, it's not a meat packing facility. That's pretty nasty. A meat packing facility is pretty nasty. Mary Ann Williams from the Chamber of Commerce, she said, don't let a vitamin warehouse go in there, or a vitamin company, because she said she lived near one before. And just like when you open up your vitamins, the smell that comes out of there, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had never thought about that, but
No.
Okay. I mean, it's not like that. It's not going to produce any of those bad smells or any of the waste like that. It's you're going to get packages in, and packages are going to go out. You have 690. There's going to be an entrance on 690 and an entrance proposed anyway on just right at Henkel Boulevard. There's really nothing around it. If you look on the map, it's surrounded by trees, and there's a power line, trees, 690. It's a perfect location. And the nice thing about it is this proposed project would bring us jobs. If we had something else, maybe it wouldn't bring the type of jobs into the area. But some industry is going to go there. I think this is the perfect, hopefully we can get this done. And this would be the perfect type industry for us. It'll bring tax revenue that we really need. It'll bring in, stimulate the economy for the local economy for our businesses, because we want that downtown to be a vibrant downtown. So we want them to have people to patronize their businesses, and an extra 150, 200, 300 people a day. That's a pretty good stimulus for them.
And I don't know if you've listened to the mayor and I talked, but he's brought up a couple times in the last few shows about somebody taking where the Verizon Wireless store is, the bank, there's a nail salon right there, but in the Kenny Plaza, there's a parking garage back there, and somebody's proposing closing that off and making more shops and stores there. So to have an industry that brings in more people, to have then the village have more shopping, I mean, it's kind of what our economy needs, is to have that evolving into bringing more life into the shopping in the village. But no matter what you put there, Bob, somebody's going to complain, someone's going to love it, and someone's going to hate it. So, we just hope that you guys do the best that you can. You present the information, and then everything happens after that. But I'm with Mary Ann. I'm hoping it's not something that smells. So
yeah, and I mean, when I was looking at, when we were talking about development, I mean, that's actually what the type of businesses that I would like to see in there. Businesses that produce jobs, businesses that produce good paying jobs, stimulate the economy, and are clean. I mean, a warehouse is pretty clean. There's really not a lot. I mean, you have truck traffic. Yes, you're going to get truck traffic. So trucks are not the cleanest. They're not all electric right now. But other than that, it's a pretty clean industry. And the nice thing about it is, it's not going to hurt our town roads, so it's not going to put pressure on our town roads where we have to repair them. That's all 690. And luckily for town residents, those are state highways. The state has to repair those roads, and they keep them in pretty good shape. We don't have to plow them. We don't have to repair them. I mean, I think this is a good industry to go in there. And some industry is going to go in there, something eventually, because it's been identified as industrial for a long time. And now we have a proposed project that could be very, very good in a lot of ways for our municipality. And, I'm hoping that it comes to fruition, because I think it'll be very good for us. And like I said, our costs are going up. Now, last year, when we put the budget together, we were able to keep taxes. People in the village actually made out pretty well. Their taxes went down by 9.5% because they don't pay highway. And in the town, ours stayed flat. It was about zero, a little less than zero. But the reason that the village had a savings, we have the bulk of our budget this year was highway. So the people in the town pay highway tax. That's why it remained flat. But to do that with all these mandates that are being put on municipalities is really unrealistic unless we can stimulate some sort of increased revenue in the form of taxes. Now, we have a comprehensive land use plan committee that was put together, and they are developing, how we want our town to look at. The plan is already in place, but they're actually reviewing it to update it, because when it was put into place, solar wasn't in there. And now we're looking at, and really business, where do we want growth? How do we want businesses in our town? That really wasn't addressed in the plan. And so when I talked to Jack Corey, who's the in charge of the committee, the chair of the committee, I told him, I said, really take a look at those two areas because they weren't addressed before. Solar wasn't there, and really business wasn't addressed that comprehensively. So Mary Ann Williams is on that committee. I mean, who better than to have the president of our local or director of our local chamber of commerce? I mean, she's a good representative there.
Yeah, and she obviously, like most of the people in the village, she really cares about what's happening and what's going on, and she will speak her mind, which is great because sometimes people join committees and they sit back and listen. Where Mary Ann will definitely take the information, evaluate the information, and give her true opinion on how she feels about it. So that's good. What did we ever use that land for anything else? I mean, has it always just sat there, Bob?
I don't ever remember it being used for anything else. I mean, I even as a kid, I don't remember that being used for anything else. So there's some wetlands in the back, which won't really cause a problem for this project because what we're proposing is right now, all of our industry in the town, like in the Radisson Business District, that's identified as 50% coverage. So if you have a business that goes in there, they can take 50% of their lot coverage and use it for the business. The rest has to remain open space. Well, the problem with this area, and I don't know why it wasn't addressed in the past, it's only 30% coverage, and it's a large parcel. Well, what the public hearing is to make it 50%, so it's more viable to a larger group of industry, and specifically this one coming in. Now, if you look at all the towns around us, they're all at 50% or higher, all of them. And the rest of the business district in the town is at 50%. Why isn't that? I don't know, but that's what the hearing is about to change that.
Gotcha.
But as far as it being used before, I don't think it has been. I mean, it's not the type of area. I'd be right next to 690, and you have the power lines there, and it's busy. So and it's industrial. It just wasn't the right fit for a lot of industries coming in, but for the warehouse that they're looking at, it's a perfect fit. But we just have to make an accommodation to change it to reflect what other towns and what the rest of our town has for coverage.
No, and that kind of makes sense because when I was picturing it, because I drive past it all the time, being so large, why it wasn't being used, but I didn't understand that 30%, 50%. Because obviously that comes into play when people are looking at what they want to use the land for and how much of the land they can develop on. So,
sure.
What else has been going on in the town? Anything that's not being presented or?
Well, right now, I mean, we're still moving forward. Again, we're looking at that project on Hayes Road that I've been talking about. That I believe we may have a proposal very shortly. I was hoping that we'd have it by the end of January, but with COVID and things, it's slowing everything down. So we don't have a proposal on that, but that should be coming very shortly. And also, we're also looking at. I've had just initial discussions with a local engineer who represents a builder about possibly putting in some 55 and older housing in our town, which is something that every town needs. So, it was only a brief conversation, so I don't have, all I said to him was, yeah, bring it to us. I mean, that would be something we'd be interested in because there isn't a lot of that around here, and that would be a nice stimulus to our economy here, and it would provide a nice area for people that are 55 and older and that want to live in a community that's that maybe they don't want kids in there, and there's a need for that all around the county, certainly.
Well, Van Buren has McCary Town, which I've helped people sell their home and move into there. And I know that sometimes the waiting list for that is just crazy. People aren't necessarily leaving Central New York as much as they were before. They want to stick around for their grandkids. But they don't want to maintain the big home. And so I'll be interested. I might ask you about that every month, just either live
Yeah.
or when we get off. But just from what I do for a living, I know there's a major need for that. People would definitely like that to be part of Lysander.
And I have gotten the same feedback when I just throw it out. I mean, the one who cuts my hair, she and I graduated high school together, and we're going to be signing up for Medicare this year because we have to. But she's looking at selling her house because, like you said, it's a bigger house, and they don't want to get involved in it. And when I talked to her about this, I mean that. These are the type of people, people that are, 55 and older are looking. They don't need a huge house anymore. And these would be smaller patio style homes and maybe gated communities that are in nice communities, well kept, and they don't have to do anything. All the plowing, all the maintenance, all the yard work's all done for them. And then they can, if they want to travel or if they want to be a snowbird and they want to go down to Florida. And during the wintertime, which eventually I'm going to do at least through January, February, and March. But just like you said, my grandkids are up here. My daughter lives in New Hampshire, which is 5 hours away, and I have two grandkids that live over in Van Buren. So listen, my wife's Italian. She's not going anywhere away from those grandkids, and neither am I. I mean, they're around us a lot. So I know there's a need for that.
Yeah. And there was a need prior, this is not a new topic, but with COVID, people are, I've talked to so many people that are moving back to be closer to family, or they want their parents to come back to where they are, they're going, because if something like this would happen again, you don't really want your family all over the country. You want that your pod of people that you're going to stay connected to be fairly close to you. So I'm excited.
I'm looking at it. I need someone to drive me to the doctor when I'm in my 80s. So I'm gonna make sure my grandkids have licenses and a good car, and I'm very nice to them all the time.
All the time, right?
We go down to Sweet Dream all the time, and they know my two girls. And when the third girl comes into town, she'll be going down there. Hey, you got to be nice to them now. So anybody that doesn't know that, I very rarely ever discipline my grandkids. If they're gonna jump off the roof, I might say don't do that, but that's about it.
Other than that is a heck of a point. I'm always amazed by how much nicer my dad was to my children than he ever was to me growing up. And Jordan did. Jordan drove him to Walmart. Jordan drove him to the doctor's appointment. I now see the reasoning behind all that niceness there, Bob.
Well, listen, when you have kids, you got to make sure that they grow up to be contributing adults. And my two kids, they are. I'm not saying, they're still a little goofy, but they are contributing citizens. Now, that's their job to take care of that portion of it with the grandkids. My wife and I, we spoil them. That's our job.
That's your job. Oh, that's too funny. So, well, is there anything else you'd like to shout out to the community before we part ways today, Bob?
Well, like I said, if you're going to come to the town, make sure you keep an eye, before you come to the town. If you look outside and it looks bad, take a look at that website. Right now, doesn't look like much, so, we're good to go. Hopefully we can stay open all day, but if it does get bad, take a look at that website before you come out. I don't want someone to come out and then we closed early. So, but other than that, I think, we'll have to wait till next month.
All right. Sounds perfect. And when you do leave, drive home safe. My drive was really short, straight down the hill. So I thought about walking, but I was afraid I'd ski down the hill instead. So, but be careful when you go out. And everybody that has to go out, please be careful. It is going to get bad. So talk to you next month, Bob.
All right. Thanks, Shelley.